So, you're wondering, what are some easy ways to make my cinematography better? Well, I'm glad you asked. There is so much that goes into creating the visual language in your cinematography that it is not as simple as it may seem. I've learned a lot throughout my creative process, so I want to share with you those important lessons that can help you reach that cinema quality we want in our work. Here are 6 tips I always use for any project I work on, and I know they will help you dial in your skills so you can be proud of the final creations you make. As a beginner just starting to understand what it takes to get better at cinematography, if there's one thing to take away from this, it's to shoot from the shadow side. I will never stop preaching this, as I see so many not understanding that this is what stops amateurs from ever reaching their potential. The most beautiful moments, scenes, and shots in cinema, whether it's from a film, show, anime, or even your childhood cartoons, have all been shot with the brightest light source placed on the opposite plane of your camera. You want your shots to be visually interesting, and when it comes to lighting, we want patterns of light and dark across the frame to add depth and dimension. You will improve your cinematography very quickly if you simply start by having your strongest light source against where you place your camera. This isn't a set rule you have to follow every single time, but it should be the first concept you understand if you want to master your visual storytelling skills. Speaking of rules in cinematography, learn them so you can break them. Instead of thinking of them as rules we need to follow, think about them as guidelines that will help us when we struggle to create. Compositional rules like the rule of thirds or the use of symmetry are useful for creating balanced images and getting good shots when you're first starting out, but they're not the end-all be-all. Sometimes you want to go beyond those concepts to evoke a certain reaction from the audience. The 180-degree shutter rule is a big one we always tend to follow, but we can adjust our shutter speed or angle to control the amount of motion blur in our shots and get creative with our cinematography. That's another way we bend the rules. One rule we should break more often though has to do with how we light our frames. We are taught that when lighting a scene, we should always try to motivate where the light comes from. If we have windows in our scene or practical lights like lamps, candles, computer screens, or even TVs, the placement of those light sources determines where we should set our artificial lights to accentuate what is already there. They give us a good starting point from which we can add more lights if needed to improve our scenes. As cinematographers, we want to create believable worlds, and motivated lighting helps us maintain that sense of realism so the light direction feels natural to the story you're telling, but we should not always have to stick to motivated lighting. Unmotivated lighting can also feel natural in our cinematography because of the story we're trying to tell. If we were truly filming a night scene, the frame should fall to black because the moon isn't strong enough to light anything we see on its own. But often, we create a moonlight look by adding artificial light and accept it as the way the story needs to be expressed. All that matters when we light is if it feels believable for the story. We can add lights wherever we want if the story calls for it, and the audience will believe in it. We paint light in our frames, and even if the lighting is unmotivated, if it feels right in context, we should paint it that way. As solo creators, cinematographers, or filmmakers, we should not wait until after we finish filming to make decisions that impact the work we create. For example, decisions about which aspect ratio to use are among the first we should make. Changing the aspect ratio can have a psychological effect on the audience depending on the choice you make. Decisions on color and set design can drastically affect the final visual language when we bring our projects to life. And one decision we can make that can never be overlooked is our choice in music. The song choices we make can have an immense impact on how the audience watches our videos. That's why I look to MusicBed, the sponsor of today's video, for high quality music that matches the high quality work I want to make. Music can enhance or hurt the story you're trying to tell, and it can be a long process to find the right song for the project you're working on. That's why I use MusicBed to help me easily discover the music that actually elevates my story. But MusicBed isn't just your ordinary music library with generic songs that feel endless to scroll through. It's a trusted music licensing source for creators and filmmakers that care about their work. When you browse through their highly curated roster of today's most relevant and emerging artists, you know they were hand-selected because their music holds the impact and quality you need to elevate your storytelling. Most of us, myself included, don't have the skill to compose for the projects we want to create, but I always know MusicBed has the music I need to make a lasting impact on whoever is watching. When you listen, you're not wondering when you'll finally find a song worth using, you're figuring out which song fits the story you're trying to tell. If you want to create videos like me with music that elevates your audience's experience, MusicBed offers a 14-day free trial so you can experience it yourself. Link is in the description, and thank you to MusicBed for sponsoring today's video. When we create our compositions, sometimes you might think they are visually boring. They might be too clean, too perfect in a way, but one way you can make them more interesting is by dirtying up the frame. All this means is you should add layers to your shots, usually by introducing foreground elements into your frame. You partially obstruct the view of your character from the camera, and it can add tension or feel intimate in a scene. You don't have to do this for every shot you film, but throwing this in here or there can spice up your visual language throughout a whole project. Greg Fraser is a master at this, layering different elements in front of the lens and behind his characters. He knows how to never shoot a boring shot. This is one reason why when characters talk in films, they are usually shown in over-the-shoulder shots of the other character to add visual interest to what can be a boring scene like two people talking. Not every over-the-shoulder is dirty, since it depends on whether your main subject is partially obstructed or not. If you feel like something is missing in your shot, this is the easiest way to add dimension. Sometimes you want a clean, unobstructed view of what is happening in your scene, but sometimes you'll want to dirty up the frame. Soft lighting does not equal cinematic. Over the past decade, it feels like everyone has been chasing the creamy, soft, cinematic look in their image. And yes, it's beautiful and more pleasing on your skin, but if you can introduce harsh lighting in your cinematography, that can add more depth and dimension to your shots. Mixing harsh and soft lighting can bring you closer to the cinema feel we strive for, as it adds more contrast to your frames for a more interesting look. Let your highlights blow out, let your shadows fall into darkness, and use harsh lighting to your advantage. Less is always more in filmmaking. You don't need to overcomplicate things and use so much when you create. This can go for the gear you use. Your lighting setups don't have to be complicated to get beautiful results. Start with natural light and the practicals you already have and work from there. You can make your work feel more authentic and work faster by limiting the gear you use. You don't have to be constantly moving the camera, as static shots can be just as impactful to the story you're telling. When you're trying to make your first short film, whether it's a documentary or a film, keep the plot simple. Focus on building up the emotions you want the audience to feel, and simplify anything else you might not need in your story. Usually when you have less gear and fewer resources, you have to be more creative with what you already have. It doesn't matter what you're talking about within cinematography or filmmaking, less can always be more. If you enjoyed this video, let me know by leaving a like and subscribing if you're new to the channel. If you want more tips to improve your cinematography, let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one.